Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to look at pensions, which is kind of like another way that people use to save for their retirement. Okay, so we're going to calculate benefits using some formulas, and we're going to calculate what it means to be vested after or during some vested periods. So we have a lot of terms here. So we're going to do terms first. Okay, so deferred compensation, that's money that's given or received at a later date, usually in return for services that have been given and received over a present time. So a pension is a deferred compensation because you're going to be given money for your work later on. Okay, it's a type of retirement plan that an employee receives compensation from an employer after retirement. So the employer is paying you, saying, hey, thanks for working for me, and we put money away for you, and here it is now. So there are two types of pension plans. There's the defined contribution plans. So those are your 401ks, your 403bs, where the employer matches your deposit into the plan. So many businesses offer that, and that's considered their pension. There's also the defined benefit plan, which is an employee pension benefit that is calculated based on a formula that may involve your average salary, the age of the employee, the length of employment, and some predetermined percentage, what they call a percentage multiplier. The employer makes all the decisions on the investment often. So if you have a pension plan, the employer is going to make the decisions like where to invest it and things along that lines. And you as the employee don't have much say on where the money is being invested. Now, vested is the number of years an employee must participate in the plan before they have a right to invest or part of the investment. So it's kind of like you have to be here 5 years or 7 years to participate in the plan before they actually put money aside for you. Then there are two types of vested. Cliff vesting, which is an employee is entitled to a pension after having participated in the plan for a fixed number of years. So it might be 5 years or so on. And then there's graded vesting that does not set or in an all or nothing time period. So in other words, it's not like, oh, you have to be here 5 years and then do that. The employee gets a certain percentage after a set number of years have passed. So let's say it's 5 years, because that's usually what it is. This particular plan may be, as you work here, the longer you work here, the higher percentage of your pension you get back. Now, there are different ways that you can get your pensions. You can have what is called a single life annuity. So this is when, as a retired employee, you get a fixed amount. Once you pass, that's it. Then there's the qualified joint and survivor annuity. This is the type of retirement where the retiree gets smaller amounts because once they pass, upon death, your spouse will continue receiving your pension. And then there's the lump sum payments where, here you go, here's all your money, and we don't pay you any more, and it is totally up to you what to do with it. Okay? So if you're not good at dispersing money and putting money away, that might not be the best way to go. Now, there are some formulas that they use to calculate your pension. There's the flat benefit formula. And this pays a fixed, flat monthly pension based solely on the number of years that the retiree has worked for the employer. So in other words, you're getting 5% and that's it. There's the career average, pays pension based on a fixed percentage of average earnings of all the years the retiree has worked for the employer. So they're going to take your average salary and percentage of that. And then there's the final average formula. And this pays a pension that is based on a fixed percentage of the average earnings of the last several years, often it's like the last 3 to 5 years, of working for an employer. And usually that's the one, like, as an employee, you may like better because usually if you've been there longer, you're making more money. So the last 3 to 5 years is probably where you're going to have your highest income. Okay, so there's acts and kind of like laws that help and protect pensions. So there's a Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation. This is a federal government agency that insures most defined benefit pension plans. Okay, so this protects pension plans from being, it's kind of like money in the bank. If somebody steals it, you're insured, things like that. There's the Employee Retirement Income Securities Act. This act that established the protection of pension plans and the PBGC. There's the Pension Protection Act. This act amended the ERISA and offers legislation to strengthen and protect many types of protection, or pensions. And then there's the Cost of Living Adjustment, the COLA. A small increase in the retirement benefits based on the Consumer Price Index or Cost of Living Index. Okay, so pensions you may get an increase in your monthly pension payment based on cost of living. And the Consumer Price Index is the indicator of inflation that measures changes in the cost of a specific list of services and products. All right. Okay, so let's try a couple of problems, all right, with our pensions. So we have Roberto here, who worked for Surgical Tools Corporation for 20 years. His employer offers a pension package with a flat benefit formula that uses a flat amount of $40 for each year of service to calculate his monthly pension. How much will Roberto's monthly pension benefit be? Well, he worked for them for 20 years, and he's getting $40 a month. That's the flat. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that $40, times it by the 20 years, and we're going to get $800. And that is going to be his pension benefit from the company per month. And that's what the whole point of the flat. It's just to take it, multiply the number of years, there's the amount of money you're going to get. All right, so let's try this one. So after 1 year, Roberto's employer offers a 2.21 cost of living adjustment to his monthly pension benefit. Then the following year, the employer offers a 2.35 cost of living adjustment. Okay, so let's determine his new monthly pension benefit. So let's do after 1 year. Okay, so after 1 year, okay, he's going to get an increase of 2.21%. So we're going to take that 800, times that by that 0.0221. So he's going to get an increase of $17.68. So his new monthly payment is going to be the 800 plus the 1768, or $817.68. Okay, so that's after 1 year. He's got an increase. The following year, all right, he gets a cost of living of 2.35. All right, so we're going to need to do that again, except we're going to take the 817.68. So the next year, okay, so we're going to take the 817.68, times that by 0.0235. Okay, let me double check my math here. Okay, I get $19.22, and we're going to add that to his new payment. Would be 817.68 plus 19.22. Oops. We should get $836 and 90 cents. Okay. So that is his new monthly pension benefit after 2 years. Okay. All right. Let's try this one. So we have Brian and Maria are married and each planning to retire after 30 years of employment. Okay, Maria has worked her entire 30 years at Lincoln Central Corporation, And the last 3 years, she's been making $110,000 per year. Brian, on the other hand, had been making the same salary for the last 3 years at Lincoln Central, but only been working there for 15 years. Prior to that, he worked 15 years at a competitor, and his average final salary was $60,000. Both employers offered a defined benefit plan that calculated the annual pension as a product of the final 3-year average, the number of years of service, and the 2% multiplier. So that means we're going to multiply those 3 things together. We're going to calculate and compare Maria and Brian's annual pension upon retirement from Lincoln Central. All right, so let's find Maria's first because she has less things happening here. Okay, so she's been there 30 years. Her last 3 years, okay, she made $110,000. She was there 3 years. And the multiplier was 2%. Okay, so it's the final 3-year average, number of years of service, and the 2%. And that's where these are. The average salary, that should be 30. Not 3. Okay, 30 years of service, and our multiplier. So let's multiply all 3 of those together. And we're going to get $66,000. Okay. So that's Maria's pension, annual pension. Okay. So she would get $66,000 a year. Now we have Brian, who had 2 things going on. We have his first job, or his first 15 years at the competitor, and then he had 15 years at Lincoln Central. So we're going to have to find both of them and then add them together. So we have Brian. Okay, so let's see. He been working for 3 years, last year. Okay, so same salary as Maria, but he was 15 years with the 2% multiplier. Okay, so when we multiply those 2 together, we get $33,000, which makes sense. It's half of Maria. But in his other job, he was $60,000 for 15 years at 2% multiplier. And when we multiply those together, we get $18,000. So his total pension per year, okay, would be the 2 added together. Okay, now if you notice that Brian is about $15,000 smaller than Maria. Again, even though they made the same salary at the end, Brian was only working there for 15 years. And his other 15 years was at a different company, and his ending salary was much smaller. So therefore, his pension is going to be smaller. All right? So Brian is going to make less money because his ending salary at the first job was much smaller. All right, so let's take a look at number 4 here. What would Brian's average salary have to be in his first job so the total of his pensions matched Maria's? Okay, so we may have to do a little bit of math here. Let's see. We're going to have to say we want 66,000 because we want that total equals, and I'm just doing like her total has to equal the 33,000 that he made plus, okay, so I'm going to use 60,000 as my unknown. Okay, so I'm doing some algebra here. Okay, so the 66,000 is what Maria made. The 33,000 came from what Brian made at the Lincoln Central job. And we're interested, our X is how much this guy would Brian have to make at his first job to be the same. So I'm going to subtract 33,000. So I'm going to get 33,000 equal to, and then I'm going to do 15 times 0.02, so 0.3x. So I'm going to divide that by 0.3, so 33,000 divided by 0.3. Okay. Okay, so he would have to be making $110,000 for that to work. Okay. All right. Let's try Annie's here. All right, Annie's employer offers a pension plan that calculates the annual pension as a product of the final average salary, the number of years of service, and the 2% multiplier. Okay, but her employer uses a graded 6-year vesting formula as shown here. Okay. All right, so Annie decides, after 5 years, she decides that she's going to leave her job. Her annual salary is $50,000. How much pension did she get? Now, according to this, she's leaving after 5 years, which means she's only going to get 80% of her pension because she wasn't there long enough to be fully vested. So we're going to need to figure out how much she should have gotten if she was there 6 years or more, and then take 80% of that. All right, so we're going to do the 50,000 times the number of years she was there, which is 5, times the 2% multiplier. So we get $5,000. So she only gets $5,000 pension. If she stayed, okay, that's how much she's going to get. But because it's only 80%, we're going to take 80% of that. So when we do that, we're going to get $4,000. So her pension is only $4,000 because she wasn't there long enough to be fully vested. Okay. All right, so we're going to use that scale again. Okay, so Ralph here is leaving his company after 4 years, and Ralph's salary is $38,500 per year. How much will his pension be? We're going to do exactly the same thing, except we're going to use $38,000. Okay, his number of years is 4. We're still going to use that 0.02% multiplier. Okay, so I get $3,080. Now, because he was only there 4 years, he's only going to get 60% of his pension. So we're going to take the 3,080 times 0.6, and we're going to get $1,848. So he's only going to get that amount of money in his pension. All right, guys, have a great day. Please let me know if you have any questions, and remember to stay safe out there.